I don't know. I think I should probably let you see the Citizen Black ProMaster 44 millimeter. This is Echo Drive. It's got a chronograph style. I may get another black watch. Today I want to talk about three things. I want to talk about my exit watch. Oh, I can see where I cut myself. Boom, that hurt. I want to talk about my exit watch. I want to talk about why I have no Christmas lights. And I want to talk about, and there won't be any Christmas lights. There never has been any Christmas lights, and there never will be. I'll go into that. And then I want to talk about my favorite podcast by Marc Maron, WTF. WTF. I am so out of practice. I've been sick. Christmas, I got finals. I need to sneak this in. I've been off the radar. I've been off the grid. I need to get back into this. I want to talk about a possible exit watch. Now, the reason why I'm wearing this for this presentation, it's my only all-black watch. I may get another black watch, the Citizen Tessa AT 3014-54E. That's a lot of inhuman numerals. Man, that sounds depersonalized and soulless. But I showed you that watch on my previous video. Johnny Casual coined that the Black Tessa. Now, if I get that watch, I'll have 7 watches, and I want you to understand, have a funeral for me, have a pyre, have an effigy, throw me into the fire, because that Citizen Tessa, all black, is going to have to be my exit watch. It's going to have to be. I'm done. I learned from experience that I cannot have a lot of watches. I thought single digit, like 9, would be something I could do. I can't do it. Honestly, 7 watches for me is too many. This is a personal choice. Everyone has to make their own decision. For me, it's 7. I don't have time to wear a lot of watches. I am, by choice, I am rather antisocial. My wife will tell you that if I go to some kind of an event, I will eat like this colossal hog, and then I'll just go up into your guest room and I'll crash. I'll go into a food coma, and I'm done. So I am, number one, by very nature, I'm antisocial, so I don't have a lot of opportunities to wear a wide variety of watches. Number 2, I'm not a businessman. I don't go to business meetings. I don't go to power meetings, and I have no need for power jewelry. I don't have to make a statement. I don't even like power jewelry from a philosophical level. Now, there are many watch obsessives that I know of through this YouTube channel who love power jewelry. I mean, look at Johnny Casual. He loves Breitling. He loves Omega. And a lot of you love Rolex and Breitling and Omega and Panerai. And I respect that, because you respect a watch for what it is, not for what it represents. And so that I can respect if you're a true, passionate watch fan. But, I'm not someone who goes to cocktail parties. I'm not a businessman. I'm not a watch model. You don't see me modeling my hairy wrists in watch magazines. I'm not an action hero. I'm not a movie star. I'm not saving the world from terrorists while wearing a Panerai Luminor. I really have limited occasions to wear watches. I think 7, honestly, is an embarrassment of riches. But because I love watches so much, I'm going to make a concession to my collection and bloat myself with 7. Honestly, 7 is watch bloat. And I'm 54 years old now, and honestly, 3 watches would be fine. But I'm going to make a concession. I'm going to have 7, and I'm going to see if I can maintain this enormous collection of 7 watches for the next couple years. But it's going to be my exit watch, and I know a lot of you are saying, McMahon, I've heard this before, man. You're an addict. You're going to try to get out of buying watches, and you're going to get reeled back in, and I'm going to laugh in your face. We'll see about that. We'll see. I mean, obviously, I'm cognizant of all the scenarios. I'm cognizant of the potential for humiliation and embarrassment by making this public. But I'm really sharing with you an evolution I've gone through. You have to realize I've had as many as 55 watches. And a couple years ago, I had 14, and that seemed like a dwindling down. And now I find 12 to 14 just ridiculously high. So there have been changes. There has been an evolution. And here's more proof of an evolution. It's hard to be urbane and take yourself seriously when you see the Grinch's eyes staring at you. What the heck, dude? Anyway, I wanted to wear it. It's Christmas time. I don't want to be a complete Grinch, anyways. What was I talking about? Yeah, so, this Black Atessa is not a rebuy. So there's evolution, Jeff. There's hope for you. Speaking of Christmas and the Grinch, I want to share something with you. I've never had Christmas lights, and I've never put up Christmas lights in my life. And, I live in the suburbs, and where I live, people love putting up these elaborate decorations with not just all these amazing lights, but these colossal, giant Frosty the Snowman and Santa Claus and elves and other reindeer. It's unbelievable. And in fact, the neighborhood next to mine is so famous for their decorations that cars line up for miles. It's like going to Disneyland to get a peek with their children. It's insane. You can't even drive around there. So it's really a huge production. I have nothing to do with it. And, I wonder what my neighbors who all participate in this huge Christmas light gala, I wonder what they think. Do they speculate that I belong to some esoteric religious cult that prohibits decorations as some form of idolatry? No, that's not true. Do they speculate that I didn't pay my electric bill? No. Do they speculate that I'm making a political statement? That I'm saying, I want to be green. I want to conserve energy. This is such a waste. No, I'm not some self-righteous do-gooder. The reason why I don't have to do Christmas lights is because I don't have to. My daughters, who are 5 years old, they look out the window and they see the Christmas lights in all the other houses. They're so happy with that, number one. And I got them a 5-foot Christmas tree at Lowe's. Actually, I didn't get it. My wife got it, but we do have it's in the house. It's 5 feet. It's huge, biggest Christmas tree I've ever had in my life. I thought we were going to get a 4-footer, but she fell in love with a 5-footer. It was unbelievable. Had to do it. The other thing is, I'm not an electrician. I don't have a license. I don't even know anything about electricity. I could kill myself. If I didn't kill myself through electric shock, I would probably fall off the roof and break my back. I'm 54. I need to do my daughters a favor, a great service. I need to stay healthy, strong. I need to stay alive for them. So there are no Christmas lights. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm piggybacking off the hard labor of my neighbors. Since they did it and since my daughters enjoy their efforts, I don't have to do it. I don't know what that says about me morally, but that I'm just being honest with you. Don't have Christmas lights, don't have to do it. It hasn't been discussed. I think my limitations are pretty well established in this household. And so that's no longer an issue. Last thing I want to talk about today before I have to get dressed and go to work, I'm not allowed, I don't think I could wear this to work, is I want to talk about my favorite podcast, Marc Maron, WTF. I learned so much wisdom from his show. I just want to go over 4 things I've learned over the years. I've been listening to his podcast for 4 years, and I think the first principle I've discussed in an earlier video. But huge Marc Maron fan. I would really miss it if he stopped doing his podcast. Familiar voice, familiar sensibility. One of the first things I heard him say is that you haven't really found wisdom in your life until you've had your butt handed to you on a stick. And what I think he means by that is that oftentimes we become too comfortable with our delusions. We become complacent. We live too much in our head, and we become too satisfied for the inadequate life that we have. And sometimes a human being or a circumstance hands you your butt to you on a stick, and it's like this shock. It shocks you out of your comfort and your complacency, and you're forced to evaluate your life for all of its flaws and all of its self-destructive ways. And a lot of it's just human nature. I think we get so locked into what we're doing. Even the best of us, the smartest of us, oftentimes need to have our butt handed to us on a stick. It's not pleasant, but it seems to be a bitter medicine that's rather necessary for us. Love that principle. The second principle, I just heard this on his most recent podcast, which I downloaded yesterday on Monday. He said that he used the word patterns. A lot of your self-destructive patterns, so we could say habits, they're from your home life. You're at home with them. You're so at home with them that you don't even see it. It's unconscious. And so, for example, let's say you have a tendency to sabotage your friendships through paranoia, egotism, neediness, being insulting. You may not even know you do it, but you learned it as a kid in your home, and it's unconscious. And I assume that Marc Maron learned this in therapy. But I love the idea that a lot of what we do that screws us up is repeated, it's habitual, it's unconscious, and we're so familiar with it that we don't even have the ability to break it down and be able to see its destructiveness. And I think being able to see it in that way is the first step in being able to wage war against it. And that's tough. It's tough to wage war against something that you created in your home, probably, with the tacit complicity and agreement with your other family members, parents, and whatnot. The third lesson I've learned from listening to Marc Maron is that there are consequences to the emotional baggage you bring to any relationship. I remember a few years ago, Marc Maron was saying, I'm going to be honest with you, I've burned a lot of bridges in my time. I don't have a lot of friends, and it's because I got a lot of emotional baggage. People can't deal with it. And I was really impressed by the way he put it. Rather than lamenting it in a spirit of self-pity, he was just in this spirit of resignation. He was just saying, gosh, man, this is just who I am. I've got so much emotional baggage. I shouldn't be shocked or surprised that I've burned these bridges, that I've had difficulty maintaining friendships. I've had difficulty making friendships. Like, people are smart and they can see the emotional baggage you bring and they exit, man. They don't want to deal. Don't take it personally. If all that emotional baggage was not on you, but on person B or A or X, Y, or Z, they'd flee from that person too. People don't want to deal with that kind of drama. And I appreciated the way Marc Maron made a distinction between having self-pity for that situation and just a sort of healthy resignation. The fourth thing, which is more of a general wisdom that I've got from his show, is just his ability to laugh at himself, to show the absurdity of his narcissism, and by laughing at it, he deflates it. And he's done such a good job of it over the years. It remains my favorite podcast. So, will I have another video where I show this exit watch? Will I even get it, or will I just say that the Black ProMaster is good enough? I don't want to compete. I don't know. We're gonna have to find out. So, anyways, I gotta get ready for work. Until next time, I am out.